All right, Against All Odds is in the books. I'm going to say this. As you see, we got something good, which we did. But I'm going to make this very clear that people who's going to be so excited that we got this, let's make it very clear. It wasn't great. There were mistakes made. We had some problems with audio. Camera work was fine. That's one thing I will say. Camera work has improved with TNA. Camera work was fine. Audio started glitching out. We did get one drop. I think they messed up the cord. The lighting was a major issue. At one point, during one of the matches, and you know which one it is, what did we get? We can't see. We can't see. We can't see. Come over here. Come over here. It doesn't make a difference that people say, hey, 4,000 people in the damn seats. Great. Well, guess what? With 4,000 people in the seats, it's wonderful. But if you hear them start chanting, we cannot see what you're doing. And worse yet, someone like, look, someone like me, who is watching at home, who can't see what's going on either, what does that tell you? I'm sorry. You're not going to get 100% great out of this show. You're not. It was a good show. No one's taking that away from any of the work in the ring, the promo segments, the vid packs, none of it. I'm not taking nothing from it. But I am telling you now, 100%, this was not a great show. This was a good show with issues. That's the deal. You're hearing it honestly. You're not going to hear Just Alex, if Just Alex even reviews it and starts screwing around and jokes around about it, or JD, who likes to on and off bury TNA, even though he knows it's a valid promotion. He likes to screw around. I'm telling you straight, as someone who's been reviewing this thing since 2010, okay? I'm being honest to you. I'm not trying to screw around. I'm not making jokes. I'm just telling you what you got. Now, kickoff show. We got two matches. Jonathan Gresham versus a Sami Callihan. Now, here's the thing. When you see Sami and Jonathan Gresham, you wonder how far they're going to take it. What are we going to be able to get within 30 minutes? Because remember, whatever they do within 30 minutes, it's got to be under 15 minutes. Because they got 30 minutes for both matches to go on, and they got to make sure there's enough time for both them and the ladies who will be doing the Knockouts Tag Championships. So we got, what, about 13, 14 minutes for the men? And the majority of this was not in the ring. They literally were beating each other up outside the ring. And I did enjoy that part of it. I enjoyed, actually, them beating up each other without even a match. Because you wonder how far they're going to go with Jonathan Gresham. And he is the one you want to see something from. But then you wonder if they really are going to go far with him. Because as it stands, he should have beat Sami. I'm just being honest here. It doesn't mean I don't love Sami. I do love Sami Callihan. But if you're going to do something with a Jonathan Gresham, or Gresham, the octopus, who literally had black spit in his mouth, and Kushida comes to the ring in a lab jacket for some reason, with gloves and a mask, grabs him, swabs his mouth, gets a little bit of that tissue off, sticks it into a little bit of what do they call that? A flask, seals it up, and now it's going to go and examine it. You wonder if they're going to go very far with him or not. It seems like they will, but I think he should have won, but then understanding that if he had won, how would Kushida get the sample to send to the labs and dress as a lab assistant? I don't know how far they're going to go with him, but I am interested in seeing they put him over. Because he really didn't do that much last run. I'm hoping this will be something new. Next, the Hex versus the Tag Champs. Let me give it to you like this. I knew the Hex were probably not going to stay long. They were just going to be there for a couple of weeks. Maybe. Maybe they are signed. I don't think they are. They're just there for a few recordings and then they're bounced. But I'm going to be honest here. Seeing Alicia Edwards, as she is, with a Marsha Semix who's not a part of the system, who should be a part of the system, but she is not, seeing she lost last night, I'm like, Marsha should be a part of the system. She should be a part of it. And since she's not, it feels empty to me personally. Now, I understand why they don't want to do it, but to me, I think she should join. But what did we get in this match? It was not a bad match. I didn't hate the match. But it just feels like, because we only got the Hex, Spitfire's not really doing anything much. And we don't have any of the women tags right now. Yeah, we got Xia Brookside. Yes, we got Jada Stone, who just appeared on Impact last night, which she did pretty good. And I know one person, you know who you said, she got laid out with that punch from a Ash of Elegance, which was a good punch. I agree with it. It was very good, and I'm glad to see Ash did it. Now, we'll talk about Ash in a minute. But it's just, there's so few women. It still feels like an empty division. I'm sorry. If the Hex won, actually would have been a bad move, but at the same time kind of good. I'm just saying. Now, let's go to the opening match. Santana and Macklin versus the Rascals. Let me get you like this. Did Santana and Macklin work well together? Yes, they did. Then did you see how Santana and... I'm just like... When it comes to Santana, he must stay single. I know he can do tag very well. He's a great tag specialist, but I really want to see him as a single. And I'm scared they may team him up with either Macklin or someone else, or maybe a returning Ortiz. I'm not saying he is coming, but if Ortiz ever came back, I don't want to see him work with Santana. I don't want LAX back. I don't want to see them back together. I'd rather see them face one another. This is me. I want to see Santana be something that he looks like he can be. He can be a main eventer. He's got the look. He's got the attitude. People are behind him. People were cheering for him. And I can tell you with this Chicago crowd, which was pretty good, unfortunately, as normal, audio is not that great in that arena. It doesn't make a difference. There was 4,000 people in there. It didn't sound like it was 4,000. It sounded like it was only 400. And don't tell me that people on X showed them cheering their asses off. This is not about the crowd. This is about how TNA does not take advantage of the audio. Remember that. Of course, no one's going to listen, but I'm saying it anyway. Of course, the Rascals lost. No problem. And we get a little respect between Santana and Steve Macklin. Gave him a hug. He shook his hand, gave him a hug. He said, "I'm proud of you." It looks like that's what he was mouthing. Now, why would he do that? Well, let's make it very clear. Santana worked his ass off to get where he is today. He didn't do well in AEW. He got really drunk. He got alcoholism. He stopped working in AEW, and then he straightened his ass out, which I commend him, and I think that's what Macklin did. Macklin saying, "I'm proud of you," I think it was due to the fact of how hard he worked to get where he is. Now, do I believe they're going to team up again? I don't know. But I don't want to see him being tagged too often. I don't. But it was a good tag. There's no way you can deny that. Macklin's a good tag specialist, and Santana's a very good tag specialist. It's just the way it is. Next match. We got... My eyes are itchy. My allergies are messing with me, but I can't. PCO versus which... Let me give it to you like this. Rick Swann is the one who had the job for PCO, which is not a problem. Seeing that AJ Francis were being booed out of the building, being told, "Fuck you, AJ. Fuck you, AJ." No problem. He's getting the perfect response. And his promo before the match was good. There was no problem. He's telling everybody, "This is a PG show. Your kids are here." And you hear him being told, "Fuck off." Pretty much. And seeing that PCO basically did a suicide dive out the ring that basically knocked AJ Francis out of one of his sneakers, because you can watch it. You could see that one of his sneakers popped right off after he got laid out by PCO. That just helped. It helped the match, for me personally. Details sometimes is a good thing to see. But this was not about the match. Let's make it clear. Let's really say what many people wanted to know, and I'm sure one person who likes to laugh his ass off, who wishes for Johnny Swinger, which I don't want him back. I'm saying it to him like this because he's not going to want to listen. I don't want Johnny Swinger back if they're not going to utilize him correctly. Remember, how many times you could see him do comedy compared to how many times when it looks like they're going to do something with him and they flat out stop. They stop. I got no problem with him being a comedic wrestler. I'm saying this to the person, Stefan, you know who you are. But I'm telling you right now, when it comes to Johnny, he deserves better than what TNA was doing. You laugh your ass off, and I'm going to say this to you again when you see this video where you're laughing your ass off about stuff and you want Johnny. I'm going to say, what do you care about more? Do you care about laughing at Johnny or Johnny being treated properly? When they're supposed to be pushing him and it looks like they could do something with him, they stop every single time. They never give him anything. You get your laughs, but how about him? I'm someone who's a realist, and I want to see someone who's in this business, who's got talent, like Johnny Swinger. He's a good comedic wrestler, getting treated wrong. And if you don't want to hear it, not my problem. I'm being respectful to you, but it's true. So I don't want to see him. Not unless they're going to treat him correctly. That's the deal. Now, did Steph DeLander agree or not? Let me give it to you like this. I've seen Steph DeLander in a bikini. Well, they showed it on one of the other sites. She's a gorgeous looking woman. And she's not a bad wrestler at that. She is not a bad wrestler. She's got a decent look. She can talk pretty well. There are points when, like in this promo, she was trying to hype the people up. Should I go and be with PCO on a date or not? Should I go on a date? Oui or no? Oui or no? I believe that's wrong. That's, what is it called in French? I think no. Was it good when she was doing it? It was a little choppy. I don't think she's used to doing something like that. So it looked like she was kind of a little bit choppy to me personally. But she did agree that she's going to go on a date with PCO. And he's going to... having his eye, I can't put my eyes on the back of my head, but you get my point. He's going to roll those eyes in the back of his head when he looks at a Steph DeLander in a dress with some boobie going. When he sees this, he's going to... Sorry, guys, I had to do it. I'm sorry. I know it's not all the way up in my head. I think. I never actually looked at myself doing this. So when I review this is going to be funny. Remember, for me, when I put images in, I have to review myself. I'm cringy. I'm sorry. I feel cringy when I watch it. But if I can actually see my eyes go in the back of my head, I'm going to say, God damn, I thought I could never do it, and I can. But we get that. There will be a date. Question is, how are they going to film the date? Will it be in a restaurant? Will it be in the back of wherever arena they're going to be in, which will be crappy? They better do it correctly. I'm saying it right now, no matter, even my friend who loves Johnny Swinger, who'll laugh at this, they better do it in a real restaurant or in a diner, something. If they do this in the back, like a concession stand type of thing, it's garbage. I don't care who you are. No, even the one I respect. If you love it, it's wrong. Moving on. Tag championships. The System versus the Nimitz. This is now the second time, supposedly, that these guys, Nick and Ryan, have tagged together. They're real brothers. We know this. But in general, they have not really worked together as a tag team. They haven't. Ryan has never gone much to WWE. He's never worked with his brother Nick. So this would technically be their second match that's ever been known. Now, it doesn't mean they haven't done any independence. It's just we have never seen it unless it's real, which I do believe it is. It was a good match. Honestly, I think Ryan did very well. Nick is Nick. We know from what we know from WWE. They thought of him as this. They're in trouble, break glass, pull out Nick, and let him go to work. He was that solid of a wrestler that could put on a great match when they got a problem. That's the reason why he was stuck around there for so long doing almost nothing until they needed him. And like he said, I wanted more. That's why he left. Did not renew his contract. He left. So seeing him with his brother Ryan was good. I do believe they need work because you can tell if you're anyone who watches tag team wrestling, you can tell they got some level of chemistry, but you also can tell they're actually not that great together yet. You can honestly see that some of that was a little bit off because Nick knows how to work in a tag, and I'm sure Ryan knows how to work in a tag. They both have a certain style that their tag team partners know easily. But now they both have to see what the other one has been doing, and now they've never seen it before, and now they have to get used to that. And you could tell in the match. Now, when it came to ABC, and they got great chemistry, I'm going to say this. When it comes to Ryan working with either... No, sorry, about to say ABC. I'm getting ABC mixed up with Josh and Eric Young, and I got something to say what Josh did with Chris Bay and a nut shot. Well, not nut shot, but nut grabs. You understand what I'm going to say. But I'm sorry. I got them mixed up. But when you see the system, when you see a Brian Myers and an Eddie Edwards, they do have chemistry. They do. All four of them got some good chemistry. Is it great chemistry? No. But you can say they do have good chemistry. In the end, we got a returning Fandango. In other words, Dirty Dango. And we also had and we also got Coming Outside and Alicia by herself. No Marshall Slamovich, just Alicia. And she gets ejected because basically Dango says, hey, she did something. And the ref listened to him and ejected him. Well, not ejected him, ejected her. I think the reason I'm getting confused here is because of how the interaction with Tom and Matthew was going along, because Matthew's trying to say, this ain't right, this is not right, this ain't great, and he doesn't believe in Dango being the way he is. He was Dirty Dango. He'd always been dirty. This is the way we know him. And seeing that they were doing this while this match was going on, and then Moose came out, and you don't see Dango messing with Moose. He's just on the other side with Brian and Ryan and Nick. I always say Brian instead of Ryan. I'm sorry. But in the end, what do we get? We get Dango turning on Ryan and Nick, even though he'd known them for years. And he hugs Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, Alicia, but he doesn't get a hug from the current champion because he doesn't trust him yet. And they're saying, has he joined the system? No. He wants a favor from the system. That's the deal. He wants to have a favor with them. Since we did not see the team he was with, I think is broken up. That's the deal. Let's move on. Next match. This is what I didn't want to talk about in my Impact review. Joe Henry versus, Frankie Kazarian with Ace Steel supposedly at ringside, which he did not come out in the beginning. Didn't come out. Ace Steel did not come out, and I'm going like, wait a minute, didn't they just announce it during the match? Right before the match that Ace Steel might be at ringside? I could be wrong. I might have not heard that correctly. But I thought I heard either Tom or Matthew that Ace Steel might be at ringside. And I thought he was going to be there, but he wasn't. He didn't come out at all during the match. He came out after the match. Was the match good? Yeah. But still, there's one problem. When you look at Joe Henry, he's done very good when it comes to his music. He's still in the charts in the UK. His I Believe song is still very popular. People were cheering and chanting I Believe. That's how popular the song has become and how popular he has become. He has transcended to a certain extent pro wrestling, which is great. That's good for him. He's earned it. He deserves it. But as a pro wrestler, when you look at Joe Henry, one of the problems you have with him is that he's trying to do something he can't do correctly. When you see him do, like he's going to do a suplex, he likes a delayed suplex. And what he likes to do is do the knee bends with his opponent. But the problem here is that he cannot do it. he does not have the physical strength to do a deep knee bend like a Chad Gable could do or anyone else that could do. He can hold them up. There's no problem. But to actually be able to bend his knees to do that, it looks like he's going to blow out his knees. Legitimately. He looks like he's going to blow them out. And it's dumb. I wish he would not do that anymore. He can't do it. It's not that he's not a strong dude. It's just that he's strong, but he's just not strong enough. He does not have the ability to do it. And I wish he would take that out of his routine. Because sooner or later, and this is me, they say when you fly too close to the sun, sooner or later you get burnt. There's going to be a point that Joe Henry is going to do a suplex with somebody, but he decides to do a delayed suplex. And one of these days, that person's going to be too big for him to be able to try and do a knee bend. Like, hold him like this and do this. Sooner or later, one of these days, he's going to do it wrong when he loses his balance because he can't do it correctly, and he could blow out one of his knees. I'm worried when one of these days he's going to do that. That's me. He may be perfectly fine for the rest of his life, or he may blow out one of his knees because he's trying to show off saying, well, I can do this to this guy, and now go, no! And that'll be it. But it's just me. In the end, when the match was over, Kaz started beating up on him, and Ace Steel comes out. Ace is saying, what the hell are you doing? He said, back off. And then Kaz shoves him from behind. And then Ace decks a Kaz. And now we're getting a street fight next week. Now, am I against that? No. It just depends on how well Ace Steel is in good shape or not. This is going to be a big question. I don't know. But it kind of makes you a little worried because, I'm being honest here. Not everyone's going to agree with me, but it makes me worried because let's be honest here. If Ace Steel, who works in the back, who doesn't wrestle anymore, has to do a match, that's not really good. It doesn't matter if he's a legend. The point is he doesn't do it anymore. He doesn't. If he was going to do it, he would have did it in AEW. He doesn't. So, if they got to turn to Ace Steel for a segment, that's not very good. What about the people that's in the roster? What's going on with them? Why do you have to use Ace Steel in this respect? Not taking anything from Ace and not being disrespectful to Ace. And not saying he can't do it. But for Ace to be doing this, it's kind of like Tommy Dreamer. And I'm not against Tommy. I still love Tommy. But Tommy didn't need to work all the time in the ring. A lot of times he didn't look that well. Nothing against him. But I don't know if this is going to be good or not. Moving on. Gotta flip my paper. Next, the X Division Championship. Trent Seven versus Mustafa Ali, who was so over. Oh my gosh. You think We Believe was over? No. We had an Ali We Trust was so over. I mean, not saying the same, but he was over until Trent Seven and Tom tried to screw him over, where they showed a video package of him saying, I can't stand this crap. And it's Campaign Singh trying to talk with him. And he says openly, I don't live in Chicago. I live in Allendale. I believe that's Allendale. That's the name of the town or city nearby. That's what I looked it up. I think it was 6.5 miles away, 17 minutes away. And this was done just before the match. Trent did that. Ali got pissed off. And we got the match from there. But guess what? It didn't work. It didn't turn him into a heel in the end. Because in the end, they said, we still love you. He's an Illinois boy. They don't care. They love him. So, it didn't work. It just made him better. Which is what they were trying to do anyway. Ali is one of the most brightest spots in TNA at this moment. Does it pull ratings though? No. We know now that the ratings for TNA has not been good because at one point they got 19,000 views. One of the lowest I've ever seen them. The lowest I ever saw before that was 79,000 views for them. And they got 19,000 views, guys. I'm telling you, this is what they acknowledged. TNA, not me. I'm not telling you that. I didn't acknowledge it. TNA guys and girls in the company acknowledged we're disappointed that our ratings is only at 90,000. Why? We're very disappointed. Whose fault is that? Not me. But I'm telling you this. He is still the brightest spot in TNA right now. I enjoy him. And the match was the best match of the night for me personally. I've never really seen a lot of Trent Seven, but I do remember Black and Gold Trent, and he's not much different here. Done very well. I enjoyed the match. Nut shots by both of them made the match better, because Ali nut shot Trent and Trent nut shot him back. Fine. But in the end, Trent did not win. He loses. And he gets told off by a Mustafa Ali that you'll never, I think I got the shot of him telling him off, you will never be better than me. You will never get this title. I'm cool with that. I'm glad he didn't drop it. To be honest, he should keep it. Because he is a bright spot in TNA right now. But is he important? They're bringing more ratings. Don't know. It counts on how they book him. They haven't really been booking him a lot. Now, next match. The grabbing of the balls match, I think. You got Josh Alexander, Eric Young versus ABC. What the blue fuck did I watch? It was a good match between the four. And when I got confused between the Nimitz and ABC, I think the reason I was thinking about it was because of the balls. I cannot believe at one point during that match, it was a good match. Do not get it twisted. They all know each other well enough that they know how to make the match work well. And it did work well. It flowed well. It wasn't the best match for me personally. But at one point, you got Josh Alexander in the middle of the ring with a Chris Bay grabbing each other's balls. And I don't believe I have a shot. If I do, it'll be in my face. I think I got it, but I'm not sure. I was trying to grab images as quickly as it was happening. As I was writing down, I noticed, I got to press the button, take the image. When you see it yourself, you're going to go, what the blue fuck? They both were grabbing each other's nut sacks. And I'm going like, well, whatever happens in Chicago stays in Chicago. And that's what we were getting. I'm not going to tell you that's great TV, but knowing how wild Chicago can be, kind of like no different than New York. In most cases, what New Yorkers might do compared to people from Chicago, if they grab each other's balls, I think in Chicago, they grab each other's balls and then beat the crap out of each other. And in New York, let's make it clear. If a guy start grabbing each other's balls, they'll probably say, bitch, your balls are small, and then start beating down on them. Unlike Chicago, where they just grab your balls and then beat you, we like we like to trash talk. Let's make it clear. We trash talk people. So if we pull the balls, I'm going to say, bitch, you got small ass balls. You're nothing but a bitch. And then that. If that'll make any sense. It was a good match. But we did get a accidental punch to the face by Eric Young to Josh Alexander. And that is how ABC managed to win the match. I was actually getting very worried that they were going to break up ABC. They still could. But since they do have a rematch clause, they're still not... I'm surprised they're actually doing it. I am surprised TNA decided that when it comes to ABC, they can hold off on the rematch clause. Because normally, they don't even give you one sometimes. But here they did, and this is supposedly help them to get back in the swing of things, which is alright. But it does not mean we won't finally get ABC breaking up, which will be really bad, because we have so few teams. Look, Grizzly Young Veterans are not there. They're gone. Motor City Machine Guns are not there. The only thing you got is the System, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Trent Seven. And I'm not going to say the other thing like one person wanted me to say was Speedball Mike Bailey. Not saying it. And then you got ABC. Yes, you do have the helping hands, but we don't see them on TV much. And since they really don't promote them much, they don't feel like a real legitimate tag team anyway. So this is what we got. Now, The match I was waiting for, and I was waiting. The Open Challenge. Jordynne Grace versus whoever it was. And I've seen so many people say, oh, there's going to be somebody. It's going to be somebody incredible. And I was thinking, if there was going to be anybody from NXT, it would either be Natalya, because she's worked in NXT with Petrovic, Tatum Paxley, and technically speaking, you could send one other person there that might be interesting, but it depended on if they were willing to send her, and that would be Lola Vice. But I don't think Lola would make much sense, and the only two I could think of that may do it is because what was being done on X when Natalya was talking on X about Jordynne Grace, it would either be Natalya or Tatum Paxley. And that's if they would use someone from TNA, because I was thinking it's either three women. It was either going to be Natalya, Tatum Paxley, or Ash of Elegance. I was thinking they may just do that. But we got Tatum Paxley coming out. And then we get Ash of Elegance watching at the ramp. Now, let me give it to you like this. Was this a bad match? Nope. It was a good match. One of the better matches I've seen Tatum Paxley do. And I've seen a good amount of Tatum Paxley do some good matches. But I think this is the best match she's ever done. And I do believe it's because she was in a new company. She'd never been there. They probably treated her really sweet and nice. And she said, thank you for treating me really nice. I'm going to go out there and do a clinic for you. And that's what she did. That was the best match I've seen her do. And when it comes to Jordynne Grace, she did well. And the thing that got me, seeing the trainers suturing up her ear because her earring got ripped out because of what happened in NXT. Well, it's understandable. They had to make sure if it wasn't loose. But let me give it to you like this. What are we getting with this collaboration from WWE? Well, TKO WWE and TNA. Don't know yet. This could be the only extension of it for now. Or we'll get another set of women doing something. You know, this could only be for the women. There's a good possibility they will not send their men. This could be only for the women. Or the next person we will have that come over will be pretty much Jensen. Buddy Jensen. I believe his name is Buddy. It's been a while. But, no, Brooks Jensen. Sorry. Maybe he'll be next. He'll be the next person that will show up. And maybe he will go up against either Mustafa Ali, Joe Henry, or, which will be very shocking, Moose. You never know. You never know. They may do this. But if that is true, that they may send a Brooks Jensen instead of someone more substantial from NXT, it kind of shows you how far they're going to go with this. NXT will keep sending the lower tier talent, and there's a very strong possibility that TNA will send more of their higher level talent. And that, if that's what's happening here, because there's still a big question, I'm making it very clear to you guys, I don't know. They may send more higher tier talent over to TNA. You never know with the women or the men. But if they keep sending very low tier talent over to TNA, and TNA sends higher tier talent to wrestle, like a Jordynne Grace went there, like a Rosemary may show up there, like who else would be, Marsha Slamovich may show up over there, or, which would be a little surprising, if Allison Kay is signed, then she could also go over there. Not saying that, but that's a possibility. We know all those women have been substantially well known, except for like Giselle Shaw. But all of them are well known. And we send all these women over to NXT to get spotlighted, but NXT sends low tier talent. Then what is TNA really getting? Remember, even the men, if they don't send someone substantial eventually, let's say they do send Jensen, and maybe they'll send a Eddie Thorpe, and maybe they'll send what? They may send Wes Lee back, because Wes is from Impact. He worked there years. He may go there. But Wes is the only one that would be really substantial compared to everybody else. But this is just me. Final match, Moose versus a Matt Hardy in a broken match. Well, broken rules match. Pretty much anything goes type of match or street fight match. Good match, one problem. Lighting. The lighting was so bad that when they decided, and this is when Moose, I think I got a shot of it in my face. I think. When Moose and Matt went amongst the crowd, people were literally yelling, "We can't see," because it was so dark. "We can't see. We can't see." They were literally cheering it, "Come over here." That's something you don't want from a crowd. That's not what you want from a crowd. No matter what anybody says, a reaction is great. You don't want a crowd chanting, "We cannot see you," because it's too fucking dark. And worse yet, for someone like us, whoever's watching this, you see me. What do you see right now? Nothing. We barely saw anything on screen. And it is TNA's responsibility to do whatever they can to make sure there's enough lighting for the people to watch. Not just the people who are in the arena, but also people who are watching at home. It is their responsibility to make it look good. Always having it dark is sometimes detrimental. It may give it ambiance. But ambiance sucks when people get this. It's stupid. And if anybody says, "Well, we still got 4,000 people," half of them were probably chanting, "We cannot fucking see." And if you say that doesn't matter, you're wrong. It does. That hurts the show. That does, because they spent more than a few minutes there, and the only thing we saw at one point was Matt having to walk up the steps, up to the next level, and going, "Delete, delete," and we barely could see him in the light that we had. They didn't even have a spotlight. And supposedly, TNA is supposed to be restructuring. Supposedly, TNA is supposed to be getting this. Where was the lights? You can't tell me they didn't have lights. You can't tell me there was a problem with the venue. They needed lights, and they didn't have lights. And the last match of the night looked bad. Parts of it. Now, when the Nemesis came out and took out the rest of the system, made them go in the back, was fine. When we saw, well, let me give it to you like this. Matt almost managed to win, but Matt started getting hit in the back in the cane with Alicia. Alicia started hitting him in the back with a cane. But then we finally get Reby. She finally shows up. Takes off her earrings and her blue hair, starts fighting with Alicia. Eventually, she gets speared through a table by Matt himself because she was right next to Moose. He pulls her out in the way. Well, he gets out of the way, and she gets speared right through her boots. And her boots were about this tall because she ain't that tall. She's a short woman. She's shorter than Alicia, I think. Or at least I think she's a little bit shorter than her. And she got almost basically speared through her boots. In the end, when it was all said and done, Matt lost. And then started getting beaten down by the system. Then the Nemesis came out. They started getting beaten down by the system. Then Joe Henry comes out. He gets beaten up by the system. And then finally a returning Jeff Hardy. And everyone started going crazy for Jeff. He goes in the ring. He manages to help to win the day. And it closes with the Hardy family and the Nemesis. This was a good TNA Plus show. I'm going to say it like that. It is a good one. But it had issues. Lighting wasn't good at all. Honestly, if they know there's a good possibility these guys are going to go outside, sometimes it's detrimental. Particularly, I'm heard so many times, we have 4,000 people in the arena. Well, guess fucking what? We didn't see 4,000 people in the arena. We only saw the people that was ringside. Wouldn't it have been better to leave all the lights on in the arena? If the entire thing was sold out, people at home would have been happy to see that type of immersion. We didn't get that. We didn't get immersion. We saw darkness, and at one point when they decided to do this broken rules match, and when Matt and Moose went amongst the fans, not even they could see because it was too damn dark. Understand, I'm not taking anything away from anybody who wrestled. They all did a great job, and it was a good show because of it. But TNA still has issues. And if they don't bring in new people to make it work, and worse yet, like I said, if this collaboration is only for TNA to send a really good top talent to NXT, and NXT sends low-level talent back to TNA, like Tatum Paxley, what is TNA really getting? I leave this down below to ask you that question. If TNA is sending their top talent to NXT, but NXT does not send top talent back, they send their bare minimum talent they're barely seen on TV or not even having a very strong story, does that mean TNA is really benefiting? And remember, they themselves have complained that the ratings they thought that should have jumped up with Jordynne Grace didn't happen. They got 19,000 views. The lowest I've ever seen them have in the years that I've ever been checking on ratings was 79,000. They got 19. Justify that. And understand, I still love TNA, but try to justify it. You can't. Peace.